we schedule an initial meeting, and we email or regular mail them a personal information questionnaire, which really goes through their family background, their kids' ages, their marital status, and gives a brief snapshot of what their assets are. It's not terribly in-depth on the asset side because we just don't need that yet, but that's the first step. And at that first meeting, we then discuss what their objectives are, what their sensitivities are, what are the deal breakers, so to speak. So for example, we can't, affecting this particular part of my assets is very sensitive for this particular reason, so we've got to be careful with that. So generally at the first meeting, we can sketch out, here's what it is that you'd like to accomplish, and here's how we can do it. Sometimes that process takes 2 meetings. Sometimes that process takes 3 meetings, depending on whether or not they've got diverse business assets. A client that's coming in this afternoon has a number of LLCs that she was gifted by her father, and she's going to inherit more of them. So getting into all those different companies has taken a little more time than certain other clients have. But generally, we can strategize during that first meeting and understand what it is we're trying to accomplish and how to get there. If that's the case, then we will prepare documents and sign them generally about 3 weeks down the road. It can be a little bit quicker if someone's going to be out of town. It can be a little bit longer if schedules don't allow, but we really strive to hit that 3-week mark just to say, this is when this process will be completed. And once you sign the documents and we do the funding, the process is completed. At the end of the first meeting, we do 2 very important things. Number one, we set the signing date. So I'm not going to send out drafts for your review and then let's schedule a signing meeting. We set the signing date right there. That doesn't often change. We both, the clients and us, pretty much keep to those dates. And the other thing we do is we establish the fee. We bill on a flat fee basis, and we can tell the client the fee for this is going to be exactly X dollars. And the only reason it's going to go above X dollars is for out-of-pocket costs like filing deeds or recording fees. So the client has 100% certainty of what the cost of this is going to be and when the process will be completed. And then at the signing meeting, we go through the documents to a fair level of detail. We don't recite chapter and verse, but we go through the trustee sections very carefully. We go through the beneficiary sections very carefully. We go through trustee powers very carefully to make sure that it meets the client's needs exactly the way they need it to, and we sign all of the estate planning documents. We also sign all of the funding documents. And by funding documents, the process includes transferring assets into these trusts so that the trust governs the assets. And so we execute various documents to transfer various assets. Some of them are cars, boats, airplanes, intangible property, LLC interests, contract rights, you name it. We've seen it at some point over the years. The client that's coming in this afternoon has a bunch of LLC interests. We had to read through each LLC agreement and see what the requirements were to transfer that interest. And, of course, the requirements were all different because they were represented by different firms. But we make sure that the transfers are effectuated properly. And then once that's done, the process, the initial process anyway, is completed, and it's a matter of maintenance and upkeep to make sure that that particular set of documents continues to meet the client objectives.